they think that if they advertise or they put extra emphasis on Amazon, that they're stealing customers away from their website. And the reality is we're all omni-channel shoppers, and generally like the younger millennial Gen Zs, they're generally going to go to marketplaces. They're going to check reviews. Whether you like it or not, it's here to stay.
Welcome to the Mastering E-commerce Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Eitan Koter, co-CEO of Vimy. In an era of rising acquisition costs and increased competition, this podcast is dedicated to helping you drive sales, engage customers, and build meaningful communities so you can turn passive visitors into active buyers. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on future content. Now let's get started with the episode. Today's guest is Haire, co-founder of BellaVix, a leading marketplace marketing agency that helps consumer brands scale on Amazon and Walmart. Will has led strategies responsible for generating over $500 million in Amazon sales, working with everyone from first-time sellers to household names like Instant Pot and Wilton. BellaVix is part of Amazon's service provider network, a verified Amazon advertising partner, and a global selling partner, giving Will and his team a front-row seat to what really drives results in their ever-changing Amazon ecosystem. Will's expertise lies in the intersection of advertising, SEO, and merchandising, and he's passionate about helping brands demystify Amazon, use data to make smarter decisions, and build sustainable long-term growth. Hey, Will, welcome. How are you today?
Hey, Eitan, thanks for having me, man. Excited to be here and great introduction. I'm actually gonna take that recording, and before I do any calls, I'm gonna have that play, and then I'll jump right.
Yes, no problem. If you need, you have the recording. I really, love what you guys are doing over there. I'm really excited about this episode. But Will, before we get started, I usually ask my guests about 3 words that are most important to them and why. So I'd love you to share some of your, 3 words that are most important to you.
Yeah, so for me, family would be number 1. Family's everything. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I have 2 kids, so that is what I do everything for. Spirituality, I am religious. I'm Catholic, and I definitely believe in a higher power that guides me and helps me live by ethics and principles. And last is passionate. I love helping people. I've worked in a lot of different roles in marketing in general, and what I have enjoyed most about this role in e-commerce, but in general as like a consultant and leading an agency, is I get to help people solve complicated problems that are turning their hair gray, causing their hair to fall out, driving them a little crazy. So I feel like I'm really blessed to be in a position where I can train a team and we can deliver value to people who choose to have us be their partners.
Amazing. Love the combination, family, spirituality, right? Passion. How spirituality is helping you in business. I mean, what makes it different for you?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question, Eitan. I would say like when things get stressful, I always look at it as like, this is the path my higher power wants me to go on. And as a business owner, we've went through extreme lows and extreme highs. And during those extreme lows, it's brought me a lot of comfort. It's helped me with anxiety to just kind of turn myself over to God and say, this is the path you've laid before me, and I will do my best to represent you, my family, and my values as I go through this journey. So not to sound corny, but like it's made a huge difference in my life.
Amazing. It's kind of a mindset thing, but you also feel it inside, right? Just you have the power to keep grinding. That tenacity that is so important for any business owner out there, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Great. So I mean, you're doing Amazon obviously for so many years. Why Amazon? Why you're so passionate about Amazon, Walmart, and all those marketplaces?
Yeah, I just kind of fell into it. So advertising. I started off like Google Ads and SEO, and I like tell everybody that's the gateway into marketplaces. But as I worked in an advertising role at different agencies, e-commerce brands would come in and they'd be like, "Hey, there's this little thing called Amazon that we need help with." And of course, my role is to help these people try to figure some of this stuff out. So I started getting a lot of work with e-commerce brands, started doing a lot of Amazon. Eventually it led to a lot of Walmart. But through my different paths, I became like the Amazon guy at these different agencies. And then eventually I just got to a point where it's like, I think I could do this better myself. And I decided to start an agency. And, what stemmed that is that there's lots of different models when it comes to agency. There's the volume model where it's like, hey, we're really cheap, drop you in at the top. If our processes work, great. If they don't, then you're not a good fit. And then there's more like boutique style, which is where we align to. So I worked with a lot of agencies where I manage, 20, 30, 40 accounts at a time. And when I started this agency, I wanted to make sure that we were doing something of high value, very customized. And so I get the most enjoyment, like all of our brands to some degree, like they can reach out to me. They have my information. I have done the sales. So I brought them all in. I know about all their problems. I track the team. They deliver performance. So like in a long way, we've built this boutique model out and I get the most enjoyment out of that. So like it's kind of been that trajectory. And when I say like Shark Tank, you guys ever watch Shark Tank or Dragon Lair if you're in Canada, whatever the heck they got in UK and everywhere else, it's always like it's a low barrier to entry. It's like, where do you sell? I sell on my website and I sell on Amazon. So like I get to work with a lot of really interesting people solving really interesting problems. And I would say like 3/4 of my clients and the brands we work with, they didn't start out as business people. They started out as a mom. They started out as somebody who is, doing something for fun. And then eventually they're like, hey, I solved this problem. And then I realized like all these different people have the problem. And then they go to a marketing guy and they're like, how can I get the word out to the masses? And it's fun to be part of that team, that ecosystem, and like adding value that way. So it's been a hell of a journey, but I've really enjoyed it.
Interesting. It sounds like you're working in more of a boutique kind of style, like an extension of their teams, right?
Yeah, that's what we go for. And, we are boutique, so we're not managing 50, 60 accounts. We keep our client ratio to like between 20 and 30 accounts. We got a team of like 15 people and that's it. So we just try to be really strategic. And, we're not trying to be an Ogilvy and Matters, like one of those big agencies. I personally, we do this strictly out of enjoyment. My wife is my co-founder. She has a digital marketing background and she's worked with a lot of, like corporate Ethan Allen, high-end jewelry. So she brought that in where I've worked in a lot of startups and agencies. So it's been pretty scrappy. So between the two of us, we're really blessed to be in a position we get to choose the brands we work with. We love working with mission-driven brands and it's an awesome journey, man. I love e-commerce. It is a fun place to be.
Oh, why? I mean, when you work with customers, what do you think they see the real value that you bring, or from the other side, what do you think is a real, differentiation in the market?
I think it's honestly it's communication, managing expectations, and being really organized. So like I think not there's anything wrong with it, but I think that a lot of founders or a lot of organizations, marketplaces, we're the redheaded stepchildren for the most part. Like they're focused on their website, they're focused on wholesale. So like a lot of the brands we work with, Amazon, even Walmart to some degree, it's kind of like secondary. So like anything we bring to the table is usually a huge plus compared to what they were currently doing. And a lot of the brands we work with, they'll hire a marketing person, but the marketing person is doing Shopify, they're doing social media, they're doing all these different things. So we're able to come in and just bring that, to your point, that partnership, where we understand the brand, we understand what their goals are. We follow Gino Wickman's traction if anybody's ever run the entrepreneur operating system. So not only do we apply that concept to BellaVix, which has helped us grow as an agency, we've taken the same concepts and we apply it to the brands we work with. So every quarter we're tackling different rocks on these marketplaces and we're working our way and we review. It's like, what did we do? What were the challenges? Do we hit our goals? Why or why not? And then how are we pivoting to make sure that we're working together? And at the end of the day, we're working towards their end goals. So it's, there is some science behind it and it's cool, man.
Yeah. Sure. And a lot of things obviously are changing and have changed, right? In Amazon, Walmart ecosystem, and probably are changing in a higher speed than ever. Oh. Well, what are some of the misconceptions, brand owners have about selling on Amazon and Walmart today?
Yeah. The biggest one, it's like, they think that if they advertise or they put extra emphasis on Amazon, that they're stealing customers away from their website. And the reality is like, we're all omni-channel shoppers and generally like the younger millennial Gen Zs, like they're generally going to go to marketplaces. They're going to check reviews. So like whether you like it or not, it's here to stay. It's a trusted source and customers are going to kind of go through that journey. And Amazon and Walmart to some degree, product market fit obviously, is a part of that stop. So like what I have seen is brands that are just like, I'm just going to give wholesale, any Wild West, like Dr. Gundry is a great example. He does gut health and gut science. He is just like, anybody who buys my product, you want to list it on Amazon, rock on, good for you. But if you go on his product, it's like a terrible brand experience. It's like somebody shot the product with their iPhone and they listed it. So now you're like, is this even legit? And then the reviews, your wholesalers, your third-party sellers, they don't care about your brand. They're making margins. They're just trying to sell product. So like you'll see on there, late delivery, poor customer service. And then they're leaving those as product reviews, which are really hard to get removed. So now it's like you got a negative experience. It's coming off the quality of the product. It's like these are things that some brands don't always think about. And then another side of that is like map policy, which is a whole other circus. So like if you don't have good map policy or map enforcement and you're letting wholesalers and you don't have good trackability with where your products are getting shipped to and how they're ending up on marketplaces. And then not only it opens the door for fraudulent products and people can get ingestible and topical. People can get really sick. They can get terrible allergic reactions. And like, that's all going to impact your brand and your reputation. So that's why we are neglected, but it is important. And I think it's becoming ever more clear as Amazon continues to grow and dominate e-commerce at the moment.
Yes. So what's your recommendation for brands out there? I mean, what's the best timing just to starting out with Amazon, right? And I mean, if you build custom solution for each one, each brand its own story, what are some of the fundamentals, action plan that you need to take when you want to launch on Amazon?
Yeah, great question. So I like to tell all brands platform mastery. So like when we have taken on launches, it works really best if you're hyper-focused on one specific platform. So like generally what we find is like if you're trying to do your Shopify store, you're trying to do Amazon, you're trying to do Walmart, you're trying to do TikTok shops, you're trying to get Instagram right, you're trying to figure out the meta algorithm, and you're investing in all of these, you're spreading yourself really thin and it's difficult to get any type of results. So what I've learned from a few of the brands that I've worked with personally that like have seen tremendous growth is like they're hyper focused on one platform. They're getting to a point where their revenue can support their ability to move off that platform and focus on another area. So by no means that I'm saying you should neglect your Amazon, because as I mentioned before, it could turn into the Wild West and it's going to hurt your brand. So at the minimum, if you're focused on your website or focused on social media, it's super easy just to open a store on Amazon, file your trademark, your brand, make sure you get brand registry so that if there are poor actors, you can get them removed and you can prove that you are in fact the brand owner. That's a big part of it. And then, list your products. They have I don't like these, but they have like CED commerce. Like they have solutions that'll take your website data and it'll dump it into Amazon. So at least you have a presence. So I'd say at the bare minimum, if Amazon isn't your focus, get your products up there, spend, whatever you need for your trademarks if you don't already have them, and just protect your brand on these marketplaces. If you're launching and you're ready to rock and roll, it's a great platform. So like you'll want to list your product. You want to make sure that you're like the lowest hanging fruit is optimize your listing for search. And they have software Data Dive, Helium 10, Jungle Scout, Choose Your Poison. They're all really the same. But you'll understand how your shoppers search, what they're looking for, and how you should craft your listing so that it's twofold, that it has relevant keywords, but also has like a little bit of that romance. That's like, what is your unique selling proposition? How should a customer experience your brand, this product? And what solution are you bringing to the table? Like those are super low hanging fruit, super easy to take care of it. You can hire people on Upwork and get variations of quality, but you can get something that you can put your hat on. And when you're ready, then you would want to start advertising and making sure you're driving traffic to these listings and then testing out your different theories on how your shopper shops, how you're going to get in front of the shopper, and how you're going to convert that shopper into a brand ambassador down the road.
Yeah. What are the things that you need to look at? I mean, in terms of the ongoing optimization, right? What type of tools are provided? Are you have any tool that you like that you might want to recommend?
Yep. So once you're brand registered, Amazon has some really great tools on its own. So like if you didn't want to spend any money, they have brand analytics. They have the search query report. When you actually start advertising, you'll get the search term report. You'll see how people search, their behavior, how they're engaging your brand. And then you're able to kind of take that and apply it. outside of that, we're big fans of Data Dive. Brendan Young has crafted some just really killer software. He also has some great YouTube videos. I'm personally a fan. I know him personally, and I follow him on LinkedIn. And our processes are all built around Data Dive as a keyword research and listing optimization tool. So we use a lot of that. On top of that, I'm a big fan of AdLabs. So got Stephen Noak. He built this advertising solution as somebody who was in MySpace, was an advertiser by trade, and he found all these gaps in these different softwares. And we happen to think his software and his philosophy on how we look at advertising is top notch. So we've been using his software solution for the last couple of years. So like those are two big softwares we would highly recommend that if you're going to get into it. They're super helpful. And you can tell a lot of this is around listing optimization and advertising, because that's what moves the needle. On the back end, like you do need to make sure you're merchandised properly. We use Merchant Spring for this type of reporting. Getita is a reimbursement software. Amazon loses your products when you send them into fulfillment. They're performance based, so they're able to get you some money back, and they just take a cut based on that. So like these are tools to help you rank. They're tools to help drive awareness. They're tools to make sure you're operationally efficient and you're minimizing your fees. And we're on a podcast, we're speaking super high level, but all those tools go very granular, and there's lots of nuances on how to operate them properly to get some type of scale as you're considering marketplaces as a place you might want to reach and acquire new customers.
Yes. I mean, when you work with brands, this is providing kind of a done for you services, or just help them manage these tools.
Yeah, so we're full channel management. So yeah, the software deck is part of working with us. You just work with us and it comes with it. And then the strategy is really the differentiator. So not only it's like the ability to use those tools, but to use them all together to hit, whatever quarterly or annual goal that we're going after with the brands that we're working with.
Yes. So what happens during, promotions times like Prime Day, holidays? How do you usually manage pricing, those promotion coupon codes, just, making sure, because we always kind of in this omni-channel strategy, how do you don't, cannibalize other channels, don't erode, margins, or what's happening, because it requires special attention, right? Obviously.
Yeah, that's it too. And I mean, pricing's a big thing. You got to think about it. Amazon's taking 30% of your sales price, pick and pack, and the referral fees. So like, your pricing needs to be able to support that. And if you don't come in, this is interesting because it's a good topic. If you don't come in with proper pricing with enough margin, you're never going to really succeed. So like you need to make sure that you have enough margin, not only to support big events, but also to just support advertising and marketing in general. Then there is a cost per acquisition for new customers. And the way you grow most brands is acquiring new customers. So like, I have so many stories of people we work with where the margins were razor thin and all we could do is just like stay on branded terms. And it's like the only way for us to grow you is if you're doing some type of off Amazon awareness campaigns, which social media is really great for that. But like, that's kind of the drawback. And then even in terms of like preparing for these events, 2 weeks out, people are adding stuff to cart. Your CPCs go up because everybody's bidding on them. You do want to make sure that you give them a promotion. They're adding to cart to see if you're going to go on sale, and they're probably comparing you to like 5 other products. And then the advertising strategy, once these deals kick in and the sales actually start retargeting, you're building your audience and then you're peppering them with ads and you're trying to get them to purchase. And, year over year, it's performance. Amazon's bottom of the funnel. If I'm on Amazon, I am like this close to making a purchase. So it is still a really effective way to get sales and drive it. Just want to make sure that you're making money. Nothing's worse than losing money on a sale.
Yeah, well, of course. And that sounds like that initial pricing strategy is so strategic. It's like an anchoring, right? Strategy. You cannot move. You cannot move up. There's only the other way. So interesting. So you worked with like household brands like Instant Pot, right? And then but also you work with like first-time sellers and small brands. What are some of the differences, working with these two sides of the of brand sizes?
So I'd say like the really big brands like your Instant Pot, your Wilton to some degree, like they had a war room when we did these big events. And what I learned from working with them, it's like there are so many moving pieces to get to the level that they're at. Like the marketing director I work with, she was a genius. Like, I don't know how the heck she even had the knowledge to match. She's managing like 10 teams. We're talking like PR outreach, influencers, email marketing, the different social media platforms, getting into like the Today Show, and then like your Amazon, your Walmart. And then tied to that, they had to worry about their wholesale, map pricing, and making sure that these platforms aren't violating each other and causing us to lose deals. And then having special deals and promotions set up with Amazon. So like the amount of work, the energy, the level of knowledge those entire teams had is insane. So like the people there are true masters at marketing and advertising. Like they are professional. They've been doing it for 15 to 20 years by the time they're at that level, and the experience they bring. I've only done really marketplaces and advertising, dabbled a little bit in Shopify, but I stay in my lane for the most part. And to see and to even be included in that, it was insane. Like you don't realize how much goes into these big events when but they have stupid money to throw around. Like, for one of the brands, we spent it was like $4 or $5 million over 4 or 5 days just on Amazon advertising, like just to throw it down. I mean, we generated close to 40 million in sales. So like they knew they were getting their return. But it's like, man, it's fun to be an advertiser with those accounts. But the smaller brands are fun too, because they have soul. They tend to be mission driven. Not that the bigger brands don't have soul, but like you're generally working close to the owners. We really don't work with the owners that often, but you're working with the, one of a 5-person team. So like your impact on those teams is really felt. But the trouble is like we never have the resources. And as we're learning and growing as an agency, because we're certainly not perfect, we're always considering like we recently added graphic design services to our suite of services we offer, because we kept getting limited by more of our typical brands, which is like those mid-sized brands where like it's expensive. They can't always afford to do a photo shoot. They can't always afford to hire a bunch of influencers and create videos. So like we've added that graphic design element so that like we're not going to be the bottleneck. It's like, just give me your brand guidelines. If you don't have it, we'll make it for you. And then we can build out something you're really proud of that you can use. So like that's an example of how we think about our services, but some of the challenges. But what's nice about Marketplace, it's a level playing field. I've worked with brands that have come in and just eaten market share for some of these really big enterprise level brands. And like, what's awesome about these smaller or mid-sized business, the rate at which they can change and move. Like at the end of the day, the bigger brands are fun and I love having them on my website, but they just move slow. There's so many more moving pieces for them to adapt. Whereas like a team of 5, it's like, hey, I need an insert in all our packages, or I need approval on this. Like generally they're like, okay, done. Do your thing. Go make us money. So it's just different.
Amazing. Yeah, the amount of money that has been invested in such a short term, very crazy. So, when we need to bring Walmart into the picture, and what are some of the differences, working with Walmart versus Amazon that are worth highlighting?
Walmart is they're definitely following in Amazon's footsteps. And what I like about Walmart is like the potential for Walmart to really take on Amazon. Like it's there. There's a Walmart within 10 miles of every major city, whereas there's an Amazon fulfillment center within 100 miles of every city. So like the ability for them to like compete from a logistics standpoint is there. Unfortunately, the user journey that is preferred on Walmart is buy online, pick up in store. And so with that methodology, you're competing with a lot of these big brands. The 1P sellers do get preferential treatment. Those are the people on brick and mortar shelves. And they are fighting tooth and nail to stay on those shelves. So like they are aggressively spending on Amazon, on Walmart, and it's difficult to really have an impact. So with that being said, if you're a 3P seller, whatever you're doing on Amazon or your website, you could expect to do between 10 and 20%. And it's just the demand isn't there. Also, not all products are a good fit for Walmart. The premium products tend to be really hard to sell. People who are going to Walmart, they're looking for certain types of deals, and generally they're looking for more cost-effective options. So like not every brand's going to be a good fit. But what I will say, a huge opportunity for anybody considering Walmart, list on Walmart. But if you can get sales to a certain point, you'll get the attention of buyers and you'll have a chance to get in stores. So we've only had this done once, but we work with a pet brand that started from the ground floor up, and we managed to scale them to a 7-figure brand on Walmart. And they got into talks with a buyer because they drew some attention. And now they're in, half the country stores selling their products on brick and mortar shelves. So like the opportunity there, and also wholesale's not right for everybody. Some people are going to be digital only, but if that's something you're aspiring to as a brand, it's a great gateway to get started.
Yeah. What are some of the leading niches that you recommend, to go and start working on Walmart?
For Walmart, I mean, personally, we work with beauty, we work with home and kitchen, we work with a lot of pet, we work with supplements. So outside of that, we have little experience in other categories, but those are where we just get the most work. I don't know why. It's just people who show up and want to work with us. So from those categories, it comes down to price point and how competitive you would be. If you have like a cost-effective option, if you have an entry-level model, if you're more of a premium, that could be a good way to get in because there are a lot of Walmart shoppers. But, if you're going to be 2 times the median price on the marketplace, then the Walmart shopper is not your shopper. And you should be focusing on Amazon, your website, and then other opportunities to get into higher end retail. So I think it's less about the type of category and it's more about where your pricing, I hate to say pricing, but it's where your pricing aligns within reason to the value that you're giving to those customers.
Interesting. So what was your biggest surprise, launching and scaling and running BellaVix?
That's a good question. Man, I, as somebody doing advertising, famous last words is like, I could do it better than you. It was definitely that. So like, I didn't realize as I moved into the role of CEO and we hired people and I no longer make the sauce, how hard it is to recruit quality talent that sees your visions, aligns with your expectations, and can deliver on what they say. We have hired so many people that just didn't work out for so many different reasons. So I didn't realize like a big part of my job is recruiting. And the second biggest part of my job is sales. Like at this point, we are hiring a salesperson, but like because we're a boutique and honestly, sales turn on and off. Like when we hit capacity, I turn off sales and then I may not do sales again for 3 months. But like, I didn't realize just how much of the back end stuff I would do. Like I don't actually make the sauce anymore as much as I love it. So it's just, it's different. It's so much different working on the business than in the business, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're nodding your head because you definitely know.
Yeah. And what's the best marketing channels that is working for you?
SEO, search engine optimization. A lot of the people who find us, they consume about 3 to 4 blog articles solving some type of particular solution before they actually reach out. And then also if they're in market and they're shopping around, they'll reach out, I'll have a call, and then they'll find me on a podcast or they'll read some of the content I've personally wrote. And then when we start doing more calls, they'll be like, I referenced this, by the way. And that's something that we're bullish on is we're trying to figure out how to index our content for AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, and all that other stuff. And, I've had people say, we found you on ChatGPT. And I'm like, great. What did you search? How did you do that? And they're not always as forthcoming as I'd like, but something we're doing is working.
Wow, nice. So it's mostly organic work. Yeah.
Yeah, mostly organic. We do a little bit of advertising. I think all agencies do. We don't really do any outbound, mainly because sales isn't an issue. We're always turning on and off. The brands that stay with us, like our attrition rate now is close to 3 years. So like for the most part, if they come on board, they're sticking around. And that's also provided they're a good customer fit. We have an ideal customer profile. There are brands that are too small. There are brands that micromanage, or they're just looking for somebody that they could tell exactly what to do. And it demotivates the team and they're not always a good fit. But for the brands that fit our ideal customer profile, we tend to hit it off and we tend to work together for a while.
Nice. Are you excited about any big opportunity that is coming up in overall, e-commerce space?
In the e-commerce space, I mean, Prime Day is going on as we're recording. So by the time this airs, it's going to be history. But we have the big deals day coming up in October, then Q4. So for like a lot of our brands, it's this is like a precursor into what we can expect to do during those holidays. So we're gathering a lot of that information and then strategically figuring out how we could better position them for the end of the year, where the sales tend to be better for the most part. Most of our categories perform better Black Friday, Cyber Monday than they do for Prime Day. And then outside of that, the changes that are rolling out on the platform are really interesting. So like how Amazon and Walmart are integrating AI and AI elements into the shopper journey with Rufus on Amazon, Sparky on Walmart. Like they're really interesting. And we've been doing a lot of testing, trying to figure out like, can we advertise and get in there? Can we add facts to our listing to make sure we index when somebody asks questions? So like similar to what I'm doing on the BellaVix website, where we're applying a lot of those concepts to the back end just to see if it actually works. And it's so hard because there's no data.
Great, Will. So what's the best way to find you and BellaVix?
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn, Will, like your hair with an E. I post something pretty much every day. I try to post something that impacts sellers, something to be aware of. And the systems are always changing, which is great for somebody with ADD like myself. So it's never consistent. We also have a newsletter that you can find through the LinkedIn that we support sellers by providing information on changes that happen in the back end, this impact on sellers and what you can do to stay ahead of it. It is not a selling tool. It's nothing more than a tool that you can use to stay ahead of the game if you are on marketplaces. And then outside of that, you go check out our website, BellaVix.com. Tons of case studies and all that other fun stuff. And if you ever want to have a consultation, reach out, and provided you're qualified, we could sit down and have a chat.
Amazing. Well, this was super interesting. Definitely. I wish you all the best and great success. Definitely exciting times.
Yes, it is. Eitan, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe so you won't miss any of our future content. And if you could share this with just one person, it would make all the difference. Are you looking to accelerate your sales with the power of shoppable video? Explore Vimy, the video commerce platform that includes live shopping, shoppable video, and social commerce capabilities. Visit Vimy at www.vimy.net, that's VIMMI.net, where you can start with a free for life package. We appreciate your support and look forward for bringing you more valuable insight in our next episode.